Strange, the energy inside this evil light gang member doesn't seem quite right. As she observed the tense standoff between Xiao Yan and the man wrapped in white bandages in the sky, Duan Qifei, with her sharp eyes, immediately noticed the unusual energy emanating from the man. Feier, you sensed it too? At that moment, Lu Qing, standing beside her, furrowed her brows. As a light elemental, she had an extremely strong sensitivity to both evil and dark energies. When she saw the man in white bandages, an intense feeling of oppressive aversion rose within her. Such a sensation only occurred in the presence of extremely rare things. Let's just watch for now. Xiao Yan hasn't given any signal for us to act, and he probably sensed that this person isn't simple. He must have his own way of handling this. If it comes down to it, we can intervene. Duan Qifei and Lu Qing exchanged glances. Clearly, Xiao Yan's strength was not as simple as it appeared on the surface. Both of them were powerful in their own right. One was a favored disciple of the Forged Blade Thunder Valley, and the other held a high position in the Holy Church. Although their personal combat strength wasn't overwhelming, the methods they had at their disposal, if fully unleashed, could even allow them to escape from a true 3-star Docian. Your identity must be quite special. I'm curious, what reason could there be for you to dare to appear in the Thunder Tomb? Xiao Yan smiled, his voice filled with confidence. Though this person's strength wasn't low, Xiao Yan had already mastered a range of techniques, including body techniques, soul interference do skills, and more. Even if he faced a real 3-star Docian, he was still confident that he could fight back. Ha ha ha. You're truly a conceited one. After I capture you, I wonder if you'll still be so sharp-tongued. The man in white bandages laughed loudly, then spoke slowly, looking at Xiao Yan as though he were no more than an ant he could easily crush. Digging your own grave? Xiao Yan didn't make a move right away. He was actually trying to extract some useful information. Humph. Don't even think about trying to trick me into talking. Your strength is not weak, but it's only enough to be my opponent. As for your question, don't bother thinking about an answer. Before long, you'll understand. The man in white bandages showed no intention of retreating, even giving off an air of calmness, as if completely unfazed by the confrontation. Is relying on your half-step 3-star Docian strength all you've got? That's not enough. Xiao Yan snorted coldly, the brilliant flames gathering around his ancient ruler of heavenly flames, ready to strike. Ha ha ha. You humans are truly a group of clueless beings who don't know how to recognize when to quit. Since that's the case, let me show you what true fear feels like. The man in white bandages laughed as he spoke. Then, with each step he took, circles of white bandages detached from his body, wriggling and wrapping around him. Once they had fully encircled him, his appearance morphed into something that barely resembled a human anymore. This guy. Xiao Yan frowned. Brilliant flames surged around him, gathering and focusing on the area. He had finally encountered someone with the aura of the extraterritorial evil clan. Whether this person was a true member of the evil clan or an ally of theirs, Xiao Yan wasn't about to let him off easily. From the Forged Blade Thunder Valley? Xiao Yan. The mercenaries from the Mercenary Guild, who were almost on the verge of collapse, couldn't help but feel a surge of hope upon seeing these newcomers. These were all key figures from the Eastern Continent competition. Leave now. This battle is beyond what you can handle. Lu Qing spoke as she looked at the two in the sky, their immense energy gathering. Thank you all for your rescue. We will report this to the Mercenary Guild's higher-ups, said one of the figures, then quickly departed. Phew. Strange, piercing sounds of wind began to echo across the sky, and the force was so overwhelming it even seemed to suppress the thunderous sounds of the Thunder Tomb. This evil light gang is definitely up to something. Duan Qifei now fully believed that this group might be a faction within the extraterritorial evil clan, or at the very least, they might be humans who had been bought by the evil clan. Ghostly white puppet. Come out and greet our guests. At the next moment, the white bandages around the man glowed with eerie blue light and suddenly rose into the air. Swish! As soon as the man's words fell, the sky darkened, and a strange, evil energy spread through the air. The white puppet resembled an ancient mummy, tightly wrapped in white bandages. Its limbs were clearly defined, and its pupils flickered with a bloody red hue. A violent, oppressive force slowly surged from its body. A puppet, huh? Xiao Yan, his body engulfed in fiery red flames, could still sense a cold, murderous intent emanating from the white puppet. He had no doubt that this puppet was likely the most powerful one he had encountered so far. Ghostly white puppet, attack. Use your power to completely annihilate everyone here. Ha ha ha. As the white bandages were removed, a ghostly cyan glow slowly emerged from the man's body. Beneath this glow was a repulsive, evil figure. Indeed, an extraterritorial evil clan. Ha ha ha. Once I defeat this puppet, there are still many things I need to ask you. Xiao Yan's heart burned with excitement. This was the first time since his breakthrough to Do Xian that he had gotten so close to a powerful being from the extraterritorial evil clan. Boom! The ghostly white puppet, made entirely of white bandages, resembled a giant mummy hundreds of feet tall. But those bandages crackled with waves of evil energy and rare sealing power. Fire, come! Xiao Yan said in a deep voice. His battle core spun rapidly, and in the next moment, the flame mantra was activated, channeling an unceasing flow of Do Qi into his fighting techniques. The flames infused with the power of the flame mantra were far stronger than those directly drawn from the battle core. But Xiao Yan's entire focus was on defeating this opponent, so he didn't notice the connection between his battle core and the flame mantra. This guy's flames seem unusual? As Xiao Yan's body burned with writhing red flames, the evil man felt an overwhelming sense of unease, as if he were facing a natural enemy. White puppet, attack. The evil man issued the command, and without further delay, the puppet launched its assault. Here it comes. Let me see just how strong this ghostly white puppet really is. Xiao Yan gave a faint, strange smile as he watched the bandage-covered puppet charging toward him. Good. The moment the evil man's voice fell, the ghostly white puppet raised its hand and struck toward Xiao Yan. A ghostly cyan energy beam shot forth, tearing through the void and leaving cracks in the air, accompanied by a piercing, violent wind. Fiery explosion technique. Xiao Yan's face remained calm. Just as the ghostly cyan beam was about to strike, he let out a low shout. Instantly, fiery phantoms appeared around his body, leaving afterimages in their wake. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying energy within the ghostly cyan beam was enough to annihilate any two-star Do Xian with ease, let alone someone like Xiao Yan, who was only at the mid-level of two-star Do Xian. The evil man didn't even bother checking whether Xiao Yan had been destroyed. He immediately redirected his attention to the several women who had accompanied him. These women each had their own unique beauty. If he could capture them alive, it would no doubt be an amusing pastime. Just as the evil man's thoughts drifted toward these wicked ideas, a sharp flame attack came out of nowhere. Bang, bang, bang. The fire attack hit the evil man directly without any obstruction, causing his body to vaporize into a mist of ghostly cyan light, clearly injured. The fiery explosion technique granted Xiao Yan a speed akin to lightning, something he hadn't anticipated. Damned bastard! The evil man could hardly believe that Xiao Yan's speed had outpaced even his puppet's attack, delivering such a powerful blow. The voice of hatred echoed from within the ghostly cyan light cluster. Tell me, which clan of the extraterritorial evil clan do you belong to? Xiao Yan, his body surrounded by blazing red flames, now looked like a fire spirit, pure and sacred. His ancient ruler of heavenly flames glowed with terrifying firepower, and the tip of the ruler pointed directly at the ghostly cyan light cluster as he questioned him. How could you possibly know that? You must die. The evil man was clearly stunned. After a moment of shock, he let out a furious roar. Since Xiao Yan knew so much about the extraterritorial evil clan, he clearly wasn't an insignificant person. Whoosh! Not good, stop him. The next moment, Xiao Yan flew into the air, but he hadn't anticipated the movement of the ghostly cyan light. As he saw it heading toward the ghostly white puppet, a sense of danger surged within him, and he shouted loudly, "It's too late. Die!" In the next moment, a ghostly cyan light surged into the ghostly white puppet's body. Instantly, the puppet seemed to come to life, its eyes filled with an indescribable intelligence, the blood-red pupils fixed on Xiao Yan, full of hatred, as if wanting to tear him to shreds. Although it's a bit tricky, there's no other choice. Xiao Yan slowly shook his head. Clearly, when facing the true extraterritorial evil clan, although his current strength was enough to defeat them, a true fatal blow was out of the question. Additionally, Xiao Yan wanted to learn some secrets about the Soul Hall, about sins, and even about his own Xiao clan through the extraterritorial evil clan. Therefore, his only option now was to unleash the power of the sacred flame. What kind of power is that? Not long after, the Rain Sisters and Lu Qing, along with the other two women, stared intently at Xiao Yan. At this moment, a rhombus-shaped crystal block in his palm was emitting a terrifying aura that made their hearts race. Earth-colored flames, indestructible like rock, yet with the searing intensity of flames. This was the Fireheart Heavenly Rock. How is this possible? Sacred flame? At this moment, the evil figure that had successfully fused with the ghostly white puppet's body let out an incredulous sound. Sacred flame. This was the nemesis of their extraterritorial evil clan. In the Great Thousand Worlds, there were only 36 sacred flames. Except for a few extremely powerful extraterritorial evil clan members who required specific sacred flames for their punishment, the sacred flame had the power to erase those of their level, located in the middle to lower ranks of the clan. This is bad. Run. The ghostly white puppet had lost its will to fight. Xiao Yan was the controller of the sacred flame, and they had to report this to Lord Phantom Mirage immediately. Otherwise, their entire plan would be ruined by the mere appearance of a sacred flame. Now you want to run? Too late. Xiao Yan snorted coldly. Immediately, the earth-colored sacred flame crystal on his palm began to writhe, and drops of earth-colored liquid spread out. As the earth-colored liquid appeared, the ghostly white puppet immediately sensed a destructive aura. Sacred flame space. Xiao Yan roared again. Instantly, the space where everyone stood, nearly several thousand square meters, was enveloped by Xiao Yan's sacred flame space. Sacred flame? This Xiao Yan is actually human? Seeing Xiao Yan use such a technique, the Rain Sisters couldn't help but feel astonished. The ghost realm encompasses everything, but human identity is the most taboo. Whether it's the 3 souls and 7 spirits or an actual human. However, fortunately, all 4 women present were humans, just entering the ghost realm for special reasons, so they weren't too surprised. Swoosh. To think you're actually a controller of the sacred flame, a voice said inside the sacred flame space. Rings of earth-colored flames continuously emerged. Under the cover of these flames, the ghostly white puppet's ghostly cyan evil aura rapidly weakened. Clearly, the sacred flame's effect on the extraterritorial evil clan was far more intense than Xiao Yan had imagined. But if you think this is enough to completely erase me, you're mistaken. The next moment, the ghostly white puppet's body flashed with a bloodthirsty aura. Its white bandages burst with blinding ghostly cyan evil light, its demonic power incomparably strong. It was clear that this puppet was preparing to use all of its strength. Don't worry. I've been controlling the Fireheart Heavenly Rock for so long. Come forth, Fireheart Heavenly Puppet. Xiao Yan wasn't surprised at all. Brilliant earth-colored sacred flames continued to surge within the sacred flame space, and at one moment, a giant earth-colored stone figure, about the same size as the ghostly white puppet, suddenly appeared. The Fireheart Heavenly Puppet. This was a creation Xiao Yan formed using the power of the sacred flame. It resembled a product of the sacred flame itself. Bathed in earth-colored fire, its stone body was impervious to damage. Truly a living rock giant. Ghostly white puppet. Attack. Seeing this, the evil man's heart grew heavy. To wield the sacred flame to such an extent, this Xiao Yan was certainly not simple. Fireheart Heavenly Puppet. Annihilate the evil. Xiao Yan's voice carried an ancient tone. As the words left his mouth, a hidden intelligence within the sacred flame erupted from the Fireheart Heavenly Puppet. Damn you! The evil figure hidden within the ghostly white puppet cursed as it sensed the holy flames, pure enough to make even the heavens tremble, hidden in the earth-colored stone giant. At this moment, they were completely enclosed within Xiao Yan's sacred flame space. The sacred flame space, with its suppression of the extraterritorial evil forces and its power to restrain the evil of the extraterritorial evil clan, was so potent that even a powerful figure at the level of half-step 3-star Do Xian was evenly matched against Xiao Yan, who was in the mid-2-star Do Xian stage. Ghostly blood burst. The evil figure, not one to easily admit defeat, growled fiercely. After all, he was a formidable general under the Phantom Venerable of the Phantom Mirage clan. As soon as the words left his mouth, strips of white bandages fell off from the ghostly white puppet, forming a massive blood-red bandage, over 100 feet long, suspended in mid-air. The blood-red bandage, like a venomous snake, radiated an overwhelming evil power and the stench of blood, locking onto Xiao Yan as its target. Yan. Xiao Yan smiled slightly upon seeing this and showed no sign of worry. He was currently standing in the sacred flame space, which could almost be considered a semi-domain. With the power of the sacred flame, it would be easy to annihilate this foe. As soon as Xiao Yan finished speaking, numerous palm-sized yellow rocks materialized out of the void in the sacred flame space. These rocks, seemingly simple, had great power. A faint but incredibly strong yellow flame swirled around them. Go! The ghostly white puppet controlled its blood-red bandage and raised its hand, sending it flying toward Xiao Yan with the force of a thunderstrike. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The space around them shook with each movement, causing even the sacred flame space to tremble. Heavenly rock. Defend. Xiao Yan remained calm and immediately ordered, as countless yellow rocks gathered around him. A massive shield of rocks, hundreds of feet tall, formed in an instant. Boom. The dazzling blood-red bandage struck the yellow rock shield but failed to cause any significant damage. The two attacks were at a stalemate in midair. Fireheart Heavenly Puppet. Power of Sacred Flame. Temporarily halting the ghostly white puppet's attack, Xiao Yan shouted again. The giant yellow rock golem beside him suddenly collapsed, letting out a deafening roar that echoed throughout the sacred flame space. Boom, boom, boom. The yellow rock golem lifted both hands and made a throwing motion toward the ghostly white puppet. This human. Seeing Xiao Yan block his attack and the rock golem perform a strange throwing motion, the evil figure couldn't help but feel puzzled. But before the evil figure could think further, a shocking scene unfolded. Power of Sacred Flame. Xiao Yan snorted coldly as a yellow, diamond-shaped, sacred flame crystal appeared in the golem's hands. A yellow liquid poured out without hesitation and shot toward the ghostly white puppet. Not good. The evil figure shouted in alarm, watching the bandages on the puppet try to defend. However, no matter how strong the defense, the yellow liquid tore through it like a collapsing dam, instantly disintegrating the defense. Boom, boom, boom. The yellow liquid, infused with the true essence of sacred flame, dissolved the ghostly white puppet on contact, turning it into a colorless vapor that vanished, leaving only a dark cyan evil light ball. Now, how will you handle this? Xiao Yan said, his voice calm. The sacred flame's power over the extraterritorial evil clan had exceeded his expectations. He had initially thought it could only break defenses, but it had completely destroyed the ghostly white puppet instead. Little scum. The evil figure, realizing his puppet was defeated, roared with malice, his voice full of curses as the cyan light ball swirled ominously. Don't worry, you won't be able to escape, and I'm not planning to kill you. Xiao Yan smiled faintly at the light ball, clearly intent on extracting information from this foe. Xiao Yan, this person was once part of the evil light gang, a very strange faction. Since he's now part of the extraterritorial evil clan, it's likely that the gang is closely connected to them, Duan Qifei said from below, her voice soft. The other three women shook their heads slightly, clearly unaware of this information. However, Duan Qifei found it strange. She noticed that the three women seemed to have a special, almost intimate relationship with Xiao Yan. But whenever she grew too close to him or developed any feelings for him, The reincarnation token on her forehead would suppress these feelings, even emitting a sense of hatred and aversion toward Xiao Yan. This was why Duan Qifei maintained a distant attitude toward Xiao Yan, as the feeling was akin to that of an enemy or rival. "Forget it. I'll ask for more details later," Xiao Yan said softly, then smiled. "Ha ha ha. As for betraying my race, I'd rather die than do it." It seemed that the evil light orb sensed Xiao Yan's thoughts and immediately let out a roar. "You don't have a choice in the matter." Xiao Yan didn't intend to directly ask, but instead slightly closed his eyes. The spiritual palace within his soul flickered, and an immense spiritual power began to writhe. Then, under the dumbfounded gaze of the evil light orb, it surged forcefully into its body. How is this possible? Soul power of the immortal realm level? No. As Xiao Yan's soul power invaded directly, the evil light orb emitted a scream of intense pain, but it was to no avail. Phantom Mirage Clan. Huh? The clan leader, Phantom Mirage, is a 4-star Docian at the peak, skilled in using pupil techniques. Phantom Venerable and Mirage Venerable, both are also 4-star Docian. Seems like they are planning revenge on the Forged Blade Thunder Valley after entering the Thunder Tomb. After some probing, Xiao Yan gathered a fair bit of useful information. However, when he tried to delve deeper, he was stopped by the Devourer of Souls, for continuing to probe could attract the attention of the Phantom Mirage clan's powerful experts. Thus, Xiao Yan had no choice but to reluctantly give up. Just as the group was discussing the Phantom Mirage clan, an unusual spatial fluctuation suddenly appeared in the void in front of them. This fluctuation carried a powerful soul transmission, and Xiao Yan couldn't help but frown. The fluctuation felt strangely familiar, but he couldn't quite place it. "What is this?" Xiao Yan asked, gazing at the eerie fluctuation that had appeared within his sacred flame space. "This is a soul transmission?" This fluctuation seems to be from Yun Qi of the Alchemist Association. After a moment, Duan Qifei suddenly made an exclamation, clearly having uncovered the secret of the strange fluctuation. "Shall we open it?" Xiao Yan asked, nodding slightly, though still somewhat skeptical. After all, soul transmissions of this level were rare, and Yun Qi's soul power was even stronger than his own. What could she possibly want with such a transmission? "Xiao Yan, I've discovered the extraterritorial evil clan. Hurry." Brilliant soul power surged, and a line of glaring words flashed in the space. How could this be? Did the masters make their move? Or did those puppets act? The evil figure, bound by the massive yellow rock giant, spoke anxiously upon seeing the words. What's going on? Looking at the brilliant words in the sky, the 4 women below felt a sense of unease rise within them, and a bad omen quickly followed. This is a soul transmission. It seems like they've encountered powerful members of the extraterritorial evil clan. "We should hurry," Xiao Yan said in a deep voice. Yun Qi was considered a worthy opponent, and since they were both from the Alchemist Association, Xiao Yan naturally couldn't just sit idly by. Against the extraterritorial evil clan, most attribute powers, except for light type, couldn't deal with them without sacred flame, making it extremely difficult. The extraterritorial evil clan is truly despicable. Looking at the sky, Xiao Yan frowned, and the 4 women also shook their heads slightly. Boom, boom, boom. This is a trace of sacred flame power, enough to prevent you from being controlled by the Phantom Mirage clan. But you must be cautious. The extraterritorial evil clan is very powerful, Xiao Yan said, splitting off a bit of yellow flame and sending it into the 4 women's bodies. Only then did he feel relieved. Otherwise, if they got into trouble while he was dealing with the extraterritorial evil clan, they would be caught between 2 fronts. Understood. The 4 women nodded heavily, fully aware of the seriousness of the situation. What about this guy? Duan Qifei pointed at the evil figure in the sky and asked. Qifei, let's combine our powers and erase him, Xiao Yan said quietly. All right. Duan Qifei didn't hesitate, a silver lightning bolt flashing between her brows. With a brilliant strike, she launched an attack at the evil figure. Reincarnator. How is this possible? The man, bound by the sacred flame, was already doomed to die. While the sacred flame couldn't instantly erase him, with the help of the reincarnation token from the Thunder Master, and combining their powers with Xiao Yan's sacred flame, the evil man was quickly obliterated. Let's go. After completing this, Xiao Yan collected the sacred flame space and immediately sped off toward the location where Yunqi had sent the distress signal. At the same time, a shocking scene was unfolding at Yunqi's location. Senior sister, what do we do now? In a dark cave underground, teeming with poisonous insects, the environment was damp and shadowy, though well hidden. Cough, cough. Yunqi stood at the forefront, but her body was exceptionally weak. She barely managed to remain upright, looking at her fellow companions with a pang of guilt evident in her voice. I'm so sorry, everyone. Her voice, mournful and fragile, echoed through the cavern, adding a desolate chill to the already silent surroundings. Senior sister, don't blame yourself. None of this is your fault. Who could have predicted that the Thunder Tomb would be infiltrated by the extraterritorial evil clan? And now, the Thunder tokens have lost their effectiveness. We can't escape by shattering them. Hua Fei, severely injured and barely breathing, said wearily from the side. This situation is highly unusual. That member of the extraterritorial evil clan seems to possess a power that can manipulate minds. Those who fall under their influence grow significantly stronger. Another companion from the Alchemist Association chimed in. The Alchemist Association had sent a group of 10, all late 2-star Do Xian cultivators, into the Thunder Tomb. Initially, they managed to gather plenty of energy entities to enhance their strength. However, as they ventured into the second layer of the tomb, they encountered a man in a green robe. The moment the man spotted them, he charged at them like a predator eyeing its prey. His eerie presence, so out of place within the Thunder Tomb, quickly revealed his true identity, a member of the extraterritorial evil clan. His power was at the early 3-star Do Xian level. Worse still, a number of other participants in the Thunder Tomb competition had fallen under his control, their intelligence seemingly erased as they followed his commands without question. Among his controlled subordinates were disciples from the powerful Blood Robe sect and other forces of the 8 major factions. Upon encountering Yunqi's group, these enthralled participants launched a frenzied assault. Despite their best efforts to resist, the disparity in power and numbers left Yunqi's group with no choice but to flee. Yunqi and Hua Fei held off the enemy to buy time for their companions to retreat. During the clash, Yunqi noticed something extraordinary about Xiao Yan. His soul carried a formidable aura akin to the sacred flame. This, combined with Yunqi's keen sensitivity to soul energy, allowed her to establish a soul transmission with him. I hope Xiao Yan and the others can get here soon, Yunqi murmured, her face pale and drained. Otherwise, this journey to the Thunder Tomb might truly become the greatest mass grave the Eastern continent has seen in millennia. Yunqi and Hua Fei had suffered severe injuries during their battle with the green-robed man. To make matters worse, the malignant energy from the extraterritorial evil clan had taken root in their bodies, eroding their strength like venomous worms. If they couldn't expel this corruption, they too might succumb and become puppets of the enemy. Heh. The game of cat and mouse ends here. A thunderous boom shattered the silence as the roof of the hidden cavern burst open, exposing the sky above. The group looked up, their faces filled with dread, as several familiar figures appeared. Blood Crystal? Mu Xiao? Even they've been controlled, Yunqi whispered, her voice trembling. The two figures hovering above them were just as she remembered, except their eyes now glowed with a pale, milky hue. Their entire presence radiated a violent, bloody aura. This is bad, Hua Fei muttered grimly, struggling to suppress the invading malicious energy. Looks like we'll have to fight to the death. Damn it! Another Alchemist Association member clenched their fists in frustration. Blood Crystal and Mu Xiao were originally at the late 2-star Do Xian level, but now their strength has surged to half-step 3-star Do Xian. That extraterritorial evil clan member must have used some sinister technique to force this power increase, though it'll probably leave them with serious aftereffects. Senior sister, I'll hold them off. You and the others must escape. Hua Fei stepped forward, shielding Yunqi with a resolute determination. No. Yunqi snapped. 2 half-step, 3-star Dou-Xian fighters, both enhanced by the power of the extraterritorial evil clan. If you go out there, you'll die. We're all members of the Alchemist Association. Among us, I am the strongest. If someone must stay behind, it should be me, Yunqi said, her pale face firm with rare resolve. Heh, senior sister, there's no point arguing. Your current strength and soul power are the hope of our Alchemist Association. If I unfortunately perish, I hope you, senior sister, will avenge me. Hua Fei grinned, showing no fear of death. In his heart, Yunqi was already the hope of their Alchemist Association. So even if they all died in battle, they couldn't allow Yunqi to suffer even the slightest harm. That's right. Senior sister, please hurry and leave. We'll stay behind and fight these guys to buy you some time. The remaining members of the Alchemist Association stood side by side with Hua Fei, smiling calmly. Their voices carried a sense of composed confidence, for they knew that Yunqi's talent and strength would undoubtedly lead to limitless achievements in the future. Whether for the Eastern Continent or the Alchemist Association, they had to protect Yunqi. You guys. Yunqi, at this moment, was unusually quiet. A rare smile appeared on her lips. She had always been a legend within the Alchemist Association, holding a high position and rarely interacting with the disciples. Yet now, at this life-or-death moment, these fellow disciples were willing to risk their lives for someone they had never met before, which deeply touched her. Heh, entrusting your hopes to me, huh? Don't worry, none of you are escaping. Such a beautiful person with such powerful soul strength. Once I capture you, I'll enjoy it thoroughly. At that moment, from the opening in the cave, a man wearing green robes emitted a sinister aura. Mu Xiao, blood crystal. Kill them all. Remember, capture Yunqi alive. The man in green robes smiled slowly and spoke to the 2 corpse-like figures beside him, who were like killing machines. Understood. Mu Xiao and blood crystal exchanged a glance, their eyes gleaming with bloodlust, before they shot downwards with terrifying speed. Sorry, but I am your senior sister, and I don't need your protection. Yunqi, seeing the 2 corrupted experts unleashing deadly attacks, turned her head slightly and gave Hua Fei and the others a small smile. Her voice was filled with gratitude and pride. In an instant, a brilliant soul force enveloped them, and with a wave of her jade hand, her soul energy surged, sending them flying several hundred meters away from the cave. Impossible. Senior sister. The others were stunned by Yunqi's sudden action, their eyes filled with a desperate, blood-red gleam. A bitter feeling slowly rose in their chests, but no matter how they struggled, nothing could change the situation. With Yunqi's overwhelming soul power protecting them, they were already rapidly distancing themselves from the battlefield. Damn it! The Alchemist Association's soul power is a valuable supplement. Lord Mirage personally ordered this. How could you let them escape? The green-robed man's voice rumbled with anger as he watched the group quickly retreat. Lord Mirage. It seems he's quite a powerful figure among the extraterritorial evil clan, Yunqi thought to herself, feeling the effects of the previous wound inflicted by the green-robed man. Her internal energy began to spiral out of control as traces of sinister power attempted to invade her organs. Yunqi, you're at death's door. I'll give you 2 options. The green-robed man stood tall, looking down at Yunqi, who was barely clinging to life. He knew that with a talent like hers, simply defeating her wasn't enough. He needed to crush her spirit. First, you join our extraterritorial evil clan. With your current talent and strength, you would gain excellent resources. Once you become stronger, you could help us bring down the Great Thousand Worlds. The green-robed man spoke coldly, his tone like that of a king toying with the lives of mortals. And the second? Yunqi's face remained resolute, and her eyes locked onto the green-robed man without the slightest hint of hesitation. She wasn't swayed by his words. Second, you perish here, the green-robed man replied, knowing full well that Yunqi wouldn't join them. A bunch of extraterritorial evil clan fools think they can lay claim to our Great Thousand Worlds? How naive. I choose the third option, Yunqi declared firmly. The next moment, A colossal shadow of nothingness emerged from her body. A fire-type heavenly seed, huh? Well, that won't change your fate. The green-robed man sneered, seeing the orange flames slowly swirling around Yunqi. The orange flame was indeed a fire-type heavenly seed. While ordinary fire might have limited power, the fire from a heavenly seed was vastly enhanced and far more destructive. Wooden vine branch. In the next moment, Mu Xiao and Xue Jing exchanged a glance, as dazzling wood attribute energy and an immense surge of blood energy brewed within their hands, coalescing into a devastating attack. Little Orange, I'm sorry. This time, I might drag you down with me. Looking at the lethal attack imbued with the duo's energies, Yunqi gently placed her hands over her chest and murmured, "All things possess spirituality, and the heavenly seed is no exception. Like the sacred flame, it has its own sentience and name. However, the heavenly seed is merely a diluted remnant of the sacred flame, diminished hundreds or thousands of times over." At Yunqi's heartfelt call, a tiny, orange flame the size of a seed emerged from the center of her chest. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The orange heavenly seed flared to life, emanating an agitated aura towards the three figures above. The fiery energy it unleashed proved a formidable suppression against the sinister powers of the extraterritorial evil clan. Little Orange, unleash all your power. This time, we fight for justice's final requiem. Without hesitation, Yunqi clasped the small, heavenly seed tightly in her hands. Orange flames engulfed her entire body, even halting the sinister forces that had been encroaching upon her. Go! Simultaneously, Mu Xiao and Xue Jing, fully controlled by their master's will, paid no heed to Yunqi's actions. A colossal, blood-red palm imprint and a brilliant pillar of wood attribute energy shot towards Yunqi with lethal precision. Power of the heavenly seed. Soul power. Faced with such overwhelming attacks, Yunqi did not cower. Mobilizing every ounce of her do qi and soul energy, she summoned an orange flame barrier and an invisible soul shield around her frail form. The cavern trembled violently, as cracks spidered across the ground and a terrifying storm of destruction surged in the sky above. In that instant, it was as though the world was ending. Such a powerful attack, but how unfortunate. Today, you can't escape your demise. Oh, I forgot to mention. Our race's ability is to control enemies, turning their power into our own, and through slaughter, we grow stronger. Now you may die. Ha ha ha. Seeing Yunqi's fiery, heavenly seed and soul power pushed to their limits yet still failing to hold off the attacks, the green-robed man laughed uproariously. Damn it! It's not enough. A graceful figure, battered and weakened, faltered under the overwhelming pincer attack. Yunqi's aura rapidly diminished as her body slowly descended. If her do qi ran out, she could no longer activate the heavenly seed, nor could she wield her soul power. At that point, her fall would be inevitable. Xiao Yan, that annoying guy. I hope you can free everyone from this nightmare. Exhausting her final defenses, Yunqi's strength collapsed, and the protective barriers shattered around her. Her body was left exposed in midair. Die! Mu Xiao and Xue Jing intensified their attacks, the blood-red palm imprint and brilliant energy beam surging forward with devastating force. So, it ends. The strongest of the younger generation in the eastern continent, just like this. Once we kill that so-called Mugu, it'll be time to settle our score with Forged Blade Thunder Valley. Watching Yunqi, her energy all but spent and her body descending like a wilting flower, the green-robed man shook his head. How could the Alchemist Association's senior disciple just give up like that? Wouldn't you agree? Senior sister Yunqi. Just as the attacks were about to strike down Yunqi, her aura faint and barely holding on, a cheerful voice suddenly echoed throughout the space. Who is it? Come out. The green-robed man's roar was tinged with unease, his eyes scanning the surroundings warily. Boom, boom, boom. The void in front of Yunqi trembled violently, and a figure bathed in earth-yellow flames materialized. With a simple wave of his hand, Mu Xiao and Xue Jing's combined attacks crumbled into nothingness. Xiao, Xiao Yan. Yuan-Chi called out weakly before her body began to plummet. Thud. Xiao Yan quickly stepped forward, catching her falling body. However, due to the momentum of her descent and the exertion of nullifying the previous attacks, their posture was awkward. Xiao Yan's hands unintentionally landed on a soft and curvaceous area of Yuan-Chi's body. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Xiao Yan's gaze was locked firmly on the figures ahead, completely unaware of the scene unfolding behind him. A sharp pain surged from the sacred flame heart in his chest, forcing him to retract his hand slightly. What's wrong? Yuan-Chi's delicate face, pale a moment ago, was now tinged with a faint blush, having sensed something unusual. What an insidious power! Xiao Yan tried to shift focus, his vast soul energy suddenly detecting the sinister force relentlessly corroding Yuan-Chi's body. He spoke up immediately. Under Xiao Yan's control, the earthy yellow power of the sacred flame surged directly into Yuan-Chi's body. Don't move. The damage inside you is severe. I'm using the power of the sacred flame to temporarily stabilize your injuries, Xiao Yan said gravely. Yuan-Chi's body had suffered not only from the severe injuries inflicted by the man in the green robe, but also from the terrifying spread of the sinister energy due to her earlier overexertion of power. Thank you. Yuan-Chi murmured softly, her beautiful eyes closing slightly as she allowed Xiao Yan's sacred emperor flame to repair her injuries. It seemed her earlier soul battle with Xiao Yan, during which she discovered the peculiar energy within him, had not been without reason. Just in time. The void before them rippled once again as the figures of Duan Qifei and the other women slowly emerged. This guy is strong. Be careful. Seeing their arrival, Yuan-Chi's crimson lips parted with a trace of worry. Leave Yuan-Chi to Wei-er. The two of us, along with Ran, can hold these two off for now, Lu Qing said without hesitation. As for the man in the green robe, leave him to you, Duan Qifei added, nodding in agreement. Clearly, even with their combined strength, dealing with two corrupted half-step 3-star Dosians would not be easy. Understood. Xiao Yan nodded lightly, placing another layer of sacred flame protection within Yuan-Chi before entrusting her to Yu Wei. Move. Without hesitation, the four figures shot forward like a burst of lightning. Mu Xiao, Shuejing. To think someone of your caliber could be controlled? Duan Qifei and the other two women swiftly formed a triangular formation, enclosing the two corrupted figures completely. Whoosh! Mu Xiao and Shuejing wasted no time retaliating, their overwhelming sinister energy surging forth and unleashing devastating attacks. Who would have thought we'd encounter a sacred flame wielder here? Truly unexpected. Xiao Yan and the green-robed man hovered in midair, neither making the first move. Though Xiao Yan's strength was inferior, the presence of the sacred flame forced the green-robed man to tread cautiously. Don't worry. You'll be even more surprised soon. Xiao Yan's lips curved into a faint smirk as an immense power began to stir within him. If the bandaged man I just eliminated belonged to the Phantom Mirage clan, then so do you. However, your strength and status must far surpass his, Xiao Yan remarked, his tone carrying a subtle edge. How do you know about these things? The green-robed man's voice carried a trace of astonishment. His clan had remained hidden for eons, with only a handful of experts aware of their existence. You don't need to know. What you do need to know is that today you die. Xiao Yan's voice turned cold as he ceased further conversation. The dazzling earthy yellow sacred flame surged forth, exuding a pressure so overwhelming that strands of green, sinister do qi began seeping from the green-robed man's body. The sacred flame truly is the bane of our extraterritorial evil clan. But don't think you can do as you please just because you wield it. All things in creation have their counters. Even the sacred flame has something it fears. You just don't know what it is. The green-robed man let out a chilling laugh, the sound laced with an unsettling power that sent a shiver through the air. A trusted subordinate of Mirage Venerable, Phantomi, at the early 3-star Dosian level,